Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. Remember the Podbros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com. Find yourself another podcast you want to listen to, and don't forget to check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company. And if you haven't seen it, before I go on our other sponsors, we had Trap and Roll and I did a collaboration, actually, and we did a t-shirt together, the Jiu-Jitsu shirt. And Chris Howder, go follow him as well, is you can see him wearing it, so you know it's quality if he's wearing one of our shirts. So you can find the shirt at trapandrollsoap.com. Check out our other sponsors, Tape Armor, as well as Rolls Gear. And, this episode was kind of a very impromptu one. Tim just joined us from Copenhagen. He flew in yesterday, and he sat down with us, me and James Hoffman, the owner of Trap and Roll, and we had a bit of a conversation about being in the restaurant business, doing jiu-jitsu, things like that, and it turned out really well. And really hope you guys enjoy the show, and don't forget to follow us on iTunes, subscribe to us, our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you can find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. And I will see you guys next time. We step it in like Rogan, where it's like, oh, we're live? Oh, we're live? We're not live, though. That's the thing. This is all pre-recorded. I'm not cool like Rogan, so yeah, man. James over here, too busy fucking playing on his phone. Hold on one second.
Don't read that out loud.
But I wanted to.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like, why?
Are we on right now?
Yeah, dude, we're just recording. It's going to fade in. It's no big deal. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. I'm Rob, and we are in Massachusetts. I got two very, very cool, important people here with me right now. I got James Hoffman of Trap and Roll Soap Company. If you don't know already, they sponsor the Big Jiu-Jitsu podcast. So I'm definitely pulling a Rogan and just having my main sponsor on the podcast to talk shit. So what's up, James?
What's up, Rob? How's it going?
Good, man. And I got Tim over here, flew all the way from Copenhagen.
Straight out
of Copenhagen to do the Origin Camp with us. And we're up here for an Origin Camp. So, Tim, what's your last name again, man?
I'm Rasmussen. Tim Ulrik Rasmussen.
Perfect, man. So thanks for coming on the show, dude.
Say that really 3 times fast,
Thank
please.
Thank you. Appreciating being here.
So, I know this is kind of crazy. This is a really impromptu one, and said, hey, let's fucking do one right now. So it's we're about to head out to a ska festival, and everybody's hopefully really excited about it.
Skanking and cranking to see the Bosstones. That's what's up. Yay. It looks like it's going to rain, though. But I just want to point out that we're at my mom's dining room table.
Dude, this is where all the best podcasts happen, man. So Tim, since you're kind of like a new
His mom's?
Well, I mean, just yeah,
At my mom's house.
At James' mom's house is where all the best podcasts happen. But so Tim, like, I know a lot of the listeners, if they've been listening, they know who James is. But let's hear your story, man. Like, how'd you get started? I know you came all the way out from Copenhagen to do this camp. So just tell us how you got started in martial arts, what you do, just anything you want to tell.
Like all regular kids, I want to fight. I started doing my fighting in an MMA club, but got told by my boss that I couldn't do it anymore because I turned up with bruises on my face and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I was a chef trainee, so yeah, I did quit it for a while, and then by one point when I was a free bird to do what I want, I just decided I'm going back into it. Started doing jiu-jitsu and some kickboxing. Did some rollerblading in between and fractured both my wrists at the same time. So now I'm just doing the jiu-jitsu, no punching. But yeah, that's kind of my story in between. 2016 it all started, and it's been a journey.
I bet, man. So you say you work as a chef, right? Or no, you're a sommelier.
I'm a sommelier. Yeah, I like spirituous. How do you
Yeah, spirits, wines.
Spirits and wines. Yeah.
See, I can't even pronounce it correctly. Sommelier.
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 I'm uncultured, dude.
You gotta roll your R, bro.
I can't fucking do it, bro.
I'll tell you a story about a wine if it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Cut on the table. No, but so I read about how to produce the different kinds of stuff, and like I really like the region called Champagne in the northeastern part of France, where we all we all notice sparkling wine, like the one for a big prize.
Right.
I like how that's produced, and that's mainly my main area. And then I like the bourbon and the Scotch. So that's quite how I can tell about it. I could go into it too deep, but when you do an exam as a sommelier, you'll get tested in blind tasting of the wine. So you will get 4 glasses in front of you, and they'll be like, okay, which kind of grapes are these, and where are they from, and who's the producer? And then you'll have to guess it out by this game. You go through, like, okay, the dark skin of it is medium red with a waterish rim, and then you have the color of it, and then you go for the nose palette and then the mouth palette, and then go through there and out for your calculation of how you'll say it. You'll be like, okay, I think this is a Pinot Noir, and it's from Burgundy, or it's from California, and then you're hopefully right.
Right.
Do they tell you right then and there, or do they just like look down at their paper and then look up at you and like judging?
No,
just do the
14 days of waiting.
Yeah.
What? Oh shit, man.
So there was a show on Netflix. That's the only reason why I know anything about sommeliers, and it was 3 guys going through, and it's
they're bad.
Yeah, and it's those guys are.
But they're going for the masses.
Yeah, the masses.
I think there's around 200 of those in the whole world combined. So that's not like mine is just a regular sommelier test. You do the 4 kind of tasting, you do the theory case, and you do the presenting of the wine and the food and wine pairing. So we have 4 levels of the test.
Yeah.
But what they do is they gotta know everything. So if you go to Germany, you gotta know the soil in this area, and you gotta know all the small sub-regions, and then you gotta know the villages, and like
whether it had a bad season, a heavy rain season,
everything.
and they can test it. They can taste it in the water via acidity from the soil and all that. Yeah, it's
what's the name of it?
It's sommelier. It's on Netflix.
That's fucking easy,
yeah,
right?
It's pretty easy. I mean, if you can't spell it, but
like me, yeah.
Check it out. One of the guys doesn't pass, and he has to keep. You have to keep the knowledge up all the time, because it's a deep subject, and you can always be better at everything. But when they go in, like every day, they sit with these cards and just flipping them over and like asking each other questions. And if you don't pass, you gotta keep doing it. And the retest is that's hard. But I like the booze, and I like to get fucked sometimes. So that's why I work with it.
Dude, that's like the best job ever then. Like, if you like drinking, man, you have the proper excuse to drink at that point. You just like, hey, I gotta test out. Like, I'm drinking gin right now because why not? This is practically it's a camp round table at this point. So why not? But you're just like, hey, I gotta test out this entire bottle of wine for.
Yeah, you don't test out the entire bottle. You just take the nib of it, and then you give it to the customer. But if it's nice, But
fine, all right, whatever.
Just a caveat off that, the show on Netflix is called Somm, and then the second one was Somm Into the Bottle.
Interesting.
There you go.
Check that
Didn't
out.
watch the second one. That sounds good.
Yeah, looks like there's 3 on it. Sour grapes, Somm Into the Bottle, and then Somm was the first one.
The sour grapes is a really insane one. It's about one guy who is like cheating everybody. He's flipping everybody over. He starts selling these wines that are not made, and he built up his own wines and sell them as another company, and sell them to all the rich people at the auction houses, and just like scamming everybody off.
Really?
Oh, you
Watch
watch
into
that one too.
That is a crazy.
Bernie Madoff, eat your heart out.
Is that kind of like that artisanal chocolate company that just melted down like
Hershey's
and put a little flavoring in it and repackaged it and sold
probably.
it?
I believe
That is fucking genius,
that's
actually.
amazing.
That's what we need to do, man.
Get rich or die trying.
Yeah.
What was that? That was a movie, right?
Yeah. I think it was Curtis Jackson or Curtis.
Do you mean
Matthew?
50 Cent?
Yes, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what parallels do you see between your job and martial arts? Do you see any, like the knowledge base, like you constantly have to study? Do you, like, I know there's got to be some sort of connection in there.
It's a good question. So you can see the similar in the chef world more than in the waiter world, where you do the sommelier. And I did 7 years as a chef. So I think when you work in a kitchen, you understand that it's like being in the army. You follow the leader, and you of course ask the question if you're in doubt or anything, but you say yes, sir, and then you go on with the flow. and it's all about, you know, like, you need the fundamentals before you can cook. And if you can't do the fundamentals, like in jiu-jitsu, if you don't know basic, if you don't know basic sweep, if you don't know a basic choke from a mount or anything like that, then you're fucked. You know, you can't just improve and improvise all the way. So there where I would say the similar is. But in sommelier world and stuff like that, it's partly divided, because then it's all about history. And I don't think, you know, the wine history can compare to, how do you say, the Valetudo history and the Gracies. I don't think it.
I say Gracie's been around since the early 1900s. Wine's been around since, I don't know, probably a little bit before that.
Yeah, just
like 5 years maybe.
Yeah, maybe a decade before that. Yeah, I heard the Gracies invented wine though.
They probably did, honestly.
Yeah,
they were stumping it out and choking it.
Yeah.
So this is your first time in the U.S., right?
Indeed, it is.
And it's like what, 24 hours so far in the U.S.
24 long hours, like flying in, sitting in Newark Penn Station with all these, how do you say? Come with a polite word, please.
Unsavories. We'll say unsavories.
Let's say it like this without being racist, because I have a lot of, how to say it, black friends. But I felt like I was too white being in McDonald's for one time in my life. There was another strategically, like, if you go to McDonald's in Copenhagen, you just see all these shit-faced young people who are getting out after being out all night.
Yeah,
that's when you go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
But that was not like that last
Here
night.
it was different.
Here was different.
Yeah, people just show up to eat.
So normal. You got on the train. You took the train to Boston. Boston to you went. So he flew. He drove in. He drove in. Yeah, he drove the train. He took the train into South Station, Ubered to North Station, and then he took North Station out to us, which is where Dragons Be, where my parents live.
Nice.
In the middle central of Massachusetts, where it's farmlands.
Actually, I was improvising a little bit because I was checking out when the train was going from North Station, and I was like, I can walk through Boston without a problem, you know. So I actually didn't get the Uber. I just walked from South Station to North Station.
Oh my god, man.
It's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was. And I was like, when I came to the hill dragging my bag, I was like, this is a bad decision. But got here.
Yeah, you're here.
Met you bros.
Yeah, man.
We picked him up a couple minutes late, but hey, that's our fault. Sorry.
Yeah, my bad. It's not even my bad. It's your bad, dude.
Yeah, it's my bad. Well,
Well, dude, speaking of like Boston, man, we went to the Feast of St. Anthony yesterday.
Yeah, we
that
did.
Was a fucking experience.
A century-old tradition in the North End, which is the Italian district, also known as. That's where Paul Revere had his ride from out when the British came to invade the United States, and that's basically where we get our history from. We also toured the Concord and Lexington battlefield where the shot heard around the world, where the Minutemen decided to stand and fight against a tyrannical monarchy. You're welcome, England.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Callum.
We're all friends now.
It's man, best friends fight.
Yeah,
it's whatever. Because I remember at work, what was it? When I was working in, I was up in Virginia. It was 2012. It was the 200 year anniversary of the War of 1812. They were working some guys from England, and so it completely slipped my mind that it was like there was a big festival that was not festival but like anniversary that was happening up in DC. So I'm sitting there in this office building, and then two of the guys that got invited in, the Americans came in. They just like practically kicked the door open. It said, 200 years ago, we whooped your fucking ass. Woo! Like pro wrestlers coming in, man. The Brits were just sitting there
like Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, the best wrestler of all time.
Yes.
Anyways,
moving on. Hey, going back to we went to the Feast of St. Anthony's. If you've ever watched The Godfather Part 2,
The Godfather?
The Godfather. Sorry, we got Jiu-Jitsu on the mind. The Godfather Part 2. There's a scene in there where they bring St. Anthony's statue through the city, and they're putting dollar bills, and it's Italy, so I'm sure they're putting whatever it was at the time.
No, that scene took place in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I stand corrected.
And if you didn't watch The Sopranos, then do it, because it happens in The Sopranos too.
I'm terrible, man. I've never seen The Sopranos.
Rest in peace, James Gandolfini.
Yeah. Damn. So shit, I had a pretty good question for you there, and it just came out of my mind, man.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We'll get back to it.
We will get back to it, of course, man.
So.
No, but it was really cool, man. Just seeing, seen a lot of history out there for our country. It's like one of the major colonial places I haven't been yet.
There's a lot of history in New England. I mean, this is the original colonies where everything basically started for America. Some would say it was Texas, but it's not.
Funny you mentioned Texas. Did you know in Texas there's more lions not lions, tigers. Texas owns more tigers than the whole world has together.
Yeah, they're all in truck stops.
That's
They are.
There was
They rescued like 6 of them out of a truck stop.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
So like when I was coming from Killeen.
Fact check that.
No, there was a truck stop I stopped into, and just like it's like fuck, I need breakfast because I made the drive from Killeen to my home in near Raleigh, North Carolina.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I did it in like a day and a half. So like I took a couple cat naps in between there and drank a bunch of Monster. But like at one truck stop, I just parked my car, turned it off, fell asleep for 2 hours, woke up, and I'm like, shit, I need breakfast. I had this place, it was called like the Tiger Cafe or something. To go in there and there's a stuffed tiger, full sized, like stuffed legit tiger, sitting in the middle of this cafe.
It's dope.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, but kind of weird. I'm sitting there like eating hash browns, looking at this dead tiger in the middle of Texas.
He's judging you.
He totally was.
If it wasn't dead, it will eat you up.
Yeah, dude, it was dead because I was sitting there for a while just thinking about it. No, he was in like a glass case or something.
Yeah.
But I had no idea it was truck stops.
Yeah, there was a truck stop. I know there was a rescue of a couple of them and some other animals also, but I can't remember honestly. Tim, you said you worked at a Michelin star restaurant also in Copenhagen, correct?
I did.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's really funny. I worked there as a chef trainee, and I worked there as a waiter apprentice. So both of them is apprenticeships, how you like it. Right. But with several years in between, and I got the opportunity where I was like, okay, I'm going to do something else because I want to open something in the end. It's called Kong Hans Killer, and it's the king's cellar. It has its history back for the 1200th century, where the building has been built, and like Copenhagen is built on layers, Right. So the reason why it's a cellar is because Copenhagen's been burning down sometimes, and then you just build up on top of it. Like, it's when you laugh, I think about, we just did the metro building, and they still do it. They found shitload of corpses in between somewhere because you just burned it down and then bury it and then start building on top of it. But this cellar is, how do I say it? It's from 1200th century. There's no windows or anything, and it's classic French food where you do carving by the table and you do flambing, you do tranching, and it's the oldest Michelin restaurant in Copenhagen, and it's also the oldest restaurant in Copenhagen. No, there's one that's older, sorry. But it has 43 years on the back, and we're 34 of the Michelin.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's...
And it was the first one in Copenhagen as well.
So did you ever get to eat at Noma?
I had lunch there one time.
Yeah?
Yeah, when you ate the ants.
Yeah.
Which was pretty... Yeah. Really cool experience.
Nice.
Got some photos if you want.
Yeah,
but it's like... it's 4 years ago now I had that.
Okay.
Yeah.
He closed up shop 2 years ago and moved to Mexico, right? They're open.
Yeah, so they do these pop-up restaurant. Noma, so if anyone is doubt, Noma is this new Nordic restaurant where they do crazy stuff. Right now, they are opened again. They have a new restaurant that's called Noma 2. Okay. But it's a new, new place in Copenhagen. They built it up by themselves because the thing about it, when Noma started, it was in an old park house building. And you couldn't get there as without taking a cab over or something.
Right.
But now Copenhagen got more together and there's more bridges and stuff like that. So by the end, there were standing tourists outside the window and looking in while people were dining. And when you pay around, let's say, in euros, it will be like 500 euros per person maybe. And then you just see you're sitting there like an animal in a cage.
While people watch you eat.
With Americans in fanny packs looking in going, what kind of them all eating there?
They can say serve cheeseburgers in that joint?
No, that's ants. So now they moved out on the backside of Christiania, actually.
Okay,
We talked about Christiania earlier, which is this free place of town where weed is illegal in Copenhagen, but not if you go to Christiania. It's everywhere. But they are on the backside of there, and now they just do seasoning. So if just had the vegetable season, which is now, and then they're going in for the hunting season, or how you would say it, like games. Yeah, games. And before that it was fish, and then you just get full menu with only that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's quite
good,
cool.
man.
But when I ate there, it was different, then you had the different kind of servings. But now they want to get back on track and do it like this. It's a cool experience.
That's very interesting. Was that on Parts Unknown?
No, I think Noma was. I think Bourdain did go to Parts Unknown. I can't be sure, but there was a documentary on. I don't remember the head chef, his name. Yeah, thank you. I won't butcher it. You can say it. But I know Noma, because Noma was voted the best restaurant in the world for a long. I think it was like 2 or 3 years, maybe longer.
It's really funny you say that, because they were nominated for 3 or 4 years, as you say. And then another one got nominated, and they were the first restaurant to get nominated 2 times. So they got nominated back again as the world's best restaurant.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
500 euros a person.
I think it's around that, yeah.
It's probably worth it.
I bet.
It's
it is worth it, yeah.
I mean, I've only experienced one Michelin star restaurant. It was one in Wiesbaden, the Anta.
Yeah.
It was pretty damn good. And I mean, it wasn't 500 a person. I think we spent maybe like 270 a person, euros.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It was fucking good, though. So I can only imagine what the best restaurant in the world would taste like at 500 euros.
I think they have 25 seats or something, and they are like 78 employees. So you do the math per person.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, though, that comes through there.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's fucking...
But
if
paying,
it's that good,
but you're paying for the... I mean, what most people don't understand is, like, you're not paying... You're paying $30 for a pork chop, but you're paying for busing, you're paying for service, you're paying for food, you're paying for the chefs. Everybody's wages has to come out of that money.
But the employees, they get accommodation, and they don't get salary. So
really?
So they are stagiaires, we call it. So they volunteer just to work under Red Sebi.
Holy shit.
I think at least 50 or 60% of the staff is just there for free.
That's crazy, but I mean that's a pedigree that they can take with them.
True.
You
work for
to
the
their
best
next.
restaurant.
Yeah. So.
And then this guy Red Sebi, he's like a fucking legend.
Yeah. That's to sell it short, he's a legend.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, fuck that. I mean, I guess technically, if you're looking at it, definitely isn't your Applebee's that you're going to, where you get fucking nachos and some chicken tenders.
Yeah, 3 for $5 or whatever.
Yeah,
no,
fucking
3 for $20.
Out.
So my question about Copenhagen is, when did, if you can help me out, when did Jiu-Jitsu start to become big in Copenhagen?
I believe there was this guy who was the first black belt, who's called Shimon. I think he got his black belt in 2002 as the first Dane. And then they started this club Artsu Ave not so long after, which is one of the best in Europe right now in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I think it's around 2005 or something, and then it's just starting getting bigger. And now we got like 7 clubs just in central Copenhagen.
Wow.
Which is quite big, because we're only 6 million. 6 millions. 6 millions. What are we?
Like people?
Yeah, in Denmark, just in all together.
Oh wow, the whole country.
Yeah, the whole country. 6 million. Yeah, that's not so much.
I mean, because jiu-jitsu is growing in Europe too, and that's something like I took notice of when I first got there. It was I showed up, and it was kind of you're a bit hard pressed to find a black belt in certain areas. It wasn't as bad as like the U.S. in like 2002, 2003, where you're like, oh shit, that guy's
driving 45 minutes just to go train at somebody's place.
Yeah,
or an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So when you say like that, we just got in our club. So we had 2 clubs divided up, one in Aarhus and one in Copenhagen. The one in Aarhus got 2 black belts last week, and the one in Copenhagen, where we got our first black belt, because else there was our sensei, or how you'd like to call him, JP, who moved back to Brazil because he wasn't happy about teaching in Denmark, because like when people achieve the purple belt or blue belt, they just quit.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what it meant to him, like this is his life, and he wasn't happy about it. So now he comes for seminars, and he's our sensei, but when I've been training, you know, like there's 2 brown belts and then the rest is purple and blue and white, and you gotta hang on what you have. Yeah. But if you go to Atsuave, they got 22 black belts.
Holy shit! I had no idea, man.
But they're a bit arrogant there, so that's why I mentioned. They're gnarly.
We'll edit that part out. They probably don't listen to it anyways.
No, they're really nice people. I go for open mat there, but you know, like you can feel when you want to be in a club and you're like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
And I just had that feeling about Choke Academy compared to Atsuave, because Atsuave, of course, they go up to all the good ones before the bad ones, or not the bad ones, but the beginners.
Yeah.
So you'll say in a nice way that Atsuave is for the high league end, you know, because they got, I think it's 3 UFC fighters as well, you know, so they go on with the guys who's working for it hard, and then the advanced class is more important.
I think it all depends, kind of like you're talking about. It kind of depends on what you're looking for, what you want to achieve, stuff like that. So I know like certain people are attracted to certain clubs for certain reasons, and I
just want to choke people.
Oh, dude, that's like the best part of doing jiu-jitsu, in my opinion.
Why'd you make eye contact with me?
You made eye contact with me too, man. It's kind of creepy. Like, so I'm gonna sleep with all the doors locked tonight, and wake up with Tim choking me. But no, and that's something else too. Like, you know, you're talking about when you find a club you're interested in. Like you said, you want to fight, right? So you might have had a kind of a different approach to where you're looking to train, as opposed to some people are just like, oh, I want to get into a martial art. And do you feel when you were looking for a place to train that the credentials of the instructor, as far as like were they world champ, did they have all these medals, were they fight MMA, like did that matter, or was it just like you came in and it felt like a good place to train?
Yeah, I had that feeling when I started in Rumble Sport, you know, like by that point I started in Rumble Sport, we also had some pros, you know, we had 2 UFC fighters by that point now, and 2 other who's pro MMA, so you know it was a good club, and there wasn't actually any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with the gi on. It was all no gi, even though we had a black belt instructor. But it turned out that this other, club called Choke, where I'm happy to be now, they got in and they kind of immersed the 2 clubs. But the feeling about being in a club is just like when you walk in the door, it has to be like family, because like I don't want to get my ass whooped by someone who just thinks I'm a jerk off.
Yeah.
And they're going to hurt you on purpose. Yeah, no, I hear you.
So you have to laugh about everything and just have a purpose with everything, being happy and developing yourself. And you can feel the difference between like those who is going for the high level because they have their little, league for themselves. Mm-hmm. And then there's all these hangarounds, you know, like, oh, you come here every Wednesday. Yeah, I'm coming here every Wednesday. And you just do it together. And then just making a progress, like without having a goal. Because having a goal for martial arts is like, just be better for yourself. And yeah, develop confident, I believe. Unless you want to be pro. That's basically how I see it.
Okay. Someone's got the right attitude. And that's the thing too, like, you know, for a while it's kind of just, it's really good to have like a place where the person knows what they're doing, but if the attitude isn't right, then like why fucking bother with it? Because I've been to clubs where the credentials were good and I get fucked up, like people holding on to submissions too long, or dude who because I was thinking about this the other day, a gym I trained at, remember we played King of the Hill once for takedowns, and because I had a tiny bit of like grappling experience before, that I could still take down the other white belts, and dudes like getting pissed. Not like because I was smashing them, it's because just a little bit helped. I remember this dude helping this dude up. It was outside of Fort Hood, obviously, so you got a bunch of dude bros out there. And that's not all places, but I'm saying, try to help this guy up, and he slapped my hand away. He's like, "Fuck you, man! Like you're going way too hard." I'm like, "What the fuck?" So like, you know, one of the other guys, when we were actually doing rolling, we were practicing arm bars, jumped on my arm and fell back hard, and I tapped, and he still held on. I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" He's like, "Oh, you know, it's fine. We just train hard here."
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't have it both ways, man. Like this group, like, yeah, one guy crying about getting taken down, and the other guy is like holding holding on submissions way too hard. I was like, dude, fuck this. So my time there didn't last very long. But that's the thing, like the attitude was not there. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't welcoming. It was just you show up and you get beat up and you leave.
Well, there should be this thing that you just leave your ego outside when you go on the mat.
Oh, God. Yeah, I know it should be, but I feel like it's not working these days, man. I really don't.
No, but that's why a small guy has to go with the big guy, and he'll show him what ego is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dude, when you get somebody who gets their ass beat, that's fine. But I think like this has been a pretty prevalent topic on the podcast, just in conversation, especially between James and I. I feel like there's just some people out there who are doing it for like the notoriety or they want to be known. They want to, says the guy running a fucking jiu-jitsu podcast. Anyway, so like it's
Rob does it for the people.
I do it for the people.
Of course.
Always for the people.
I like to admit, when I'm with my boys who's not doing jiu-jitsu or anything, I still go after the small boys and just be like, hey prick, do you want to know what a Americana is? And I'm just, I know we're drunk, but it's fun.
Yeah. Drunk rolling with your buddies is one thing, but I'm talking like people go into clubs, people start jiu-jitsu, they get a taste for it, and that's good, It's not for everybody. I say everybody can learn it, but some people won't stick with it. And I'm always flip-flopping on this issue. And I'll admit that too, because usually I'm like, jiu-jitsu is for everybody, but then I'm like, some people just can't hack it. And that's just the way life is. Like it's rough, it's bad, but I think you can still help introduce people into it and not be like, hey, what's up? It's your first day. You're rolling with purple belt over there, and all he does is just rip people's arms off. Like that's generally not the best way to start it. But some people, I think, get into it, get a maybe a moderate level of success, and then they focus on, I guess, maybe the wrong shit. Like your Instagram likes or not, your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Your yeah, they got trouble to get after it,
Yeah.
So when I train, you wanted me to tell a little bit about myself before. I had to figure out how to open. So a normal week for me would be like I I work out 5 days a week.
Yeah.
6:30 in the morning, I go weightlifting because I meet late. That's a good thing about being a sommelier.
Yeah.
And all the spare time in between, I'll try to get a jiu-jitsu class or two. So maybe sometimes I train 5 times a week in the morning, and then I train 5 times in the evening. And when I'm rolling with someone who's like new in the game or anything, they're like, oh, you're giving so much after. And I'm like, no, I'm strong and still doing techniques. And they're like, yeah, but how do you get the time to go train then? And I'm like, if you want this like as bad as I want, like I don't have anything like goal. I just want to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And be prepared for the worst case scenario ever happened. I hope it's not gonna happen. But so you gotta buy the time and like just get after it all the time and go weightlifting, go to the class. Every time you can go to a class, every time you got an opportunity, go to a class. Because like we can all go out on a Saturday night, but the next 2 days you're gonna get fucked up, like we are gonna do tonight. But
see what happens tomorrow, man. I'm pretty good at putting gin away and training. So.
I'm driving, so
yeah. Okay, fair enough. But the day after you've been drunk, it's really rough to get the same energy and the same volume, and that's what people forget when they go into the gym. I believe they're like they want to have all the fun in the world with all their friends, but they don't recognize all the friends they have on the mat because you share the same hobby. And like I didn't know you two guys, but you took me under your wing because we got the same thing to do, and you're like, I'm asking out, can anybody help me? I don't really know anything about US and how the fuck do I get to Maine? Maine is like, where's Maine?
It's in Canada.
And then this guy, he's like, yeah, we're going to a concert. And I'm like, okay, either I'm not getting there and I'm ending up in Mexico or anything like that, or I'm gonna have a fucking good time. And I'm having a good time now, and and this is all because we do jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
How did you hear about the Origin Camp?
I listened to Jocko Willing's podcast, and the way he mentioned it was like in the after trailer, or what you say, when they want to sell out all the merchandise and stuff like that. And he's like, there's gonna be this summer camp, and it's gonna be like when you're a kid going to summer camp. But the thing is, in Denmark, you don't go to summer camp. Like, if
you're a broke ass redneck like me, you don't go to summer camp either.
Okay, fair enough. You don't get this experience. And I was like, you say jiu-jitsu for 8 days, visit the States. Yeah, let's try it out. You know, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And then I applied just the 1st of April. Got my free key. Thank you, Immersion.
Yeah.
I'm ready for mine too, man.
Yeah. So Jago, he's the man after my opinion. He made it for me.
Have you listened to any of the Origin podcasts, Hands on Daylight podcasts? No. Any chance?
No.
You should get on that too.
Yeah.
We'll do.
It's pretty good. Have you ever listened to the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show podcast?
What's that?
Some shithead podcast.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
It's trash. Anyway, so excuse me, I started smoking again. That's a good decision. Kidding, dude. It's just from the allergies out here, man. But I know we're gonna finish up here because we gotta get ahead now. We gotta go. I gotta go get my skank on at a ska show.
That means dancing.
Yeah, it's
for all
dancing. I'm
out
not
there.
gonna whore myself out any more than I used to. But
yeah.
Before we head out, Tim, is there anything you want to say to our listeners out there?
You should see how Rob dances under the pants. A big guy like that shouldn't be dancing like that. I like it.
I defy physics on the daily. That's all I gotta say. James, anything you want to say?
No, man. We're just I'm ready for the immersion camp. See all our friends that are veterans and meet some new people like Tim, obviously, and make the experience. We're definitely gonna have fun. You're going to get to experience Maine and Portland, which was just rated Bon Appetit's best restaurant city in the U.S. A lot of James Beard Award winners, from cocktails to pastries to chefs.
Let's get some free lobster.
Yeah, free lobster.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of dead sea bugs on Sunday.
So much gout. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch gout while I'm out. I don't know if you can catch it, develop it, whatever. Fuck, it's going to be good. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Big Jiu-Jitsu Podcast. Tim, thanks for coming on here. James, as usual. I think this week you're probably going to see a lot of videos, a lot of stuff coming through the page just because, why not? We have the opportunity to do some jiu-jitsu stuff and just kind of be social with a lot of people. This week's going to be full. So this episode, if you're listening to it right now, it's probably going to be published on Saturday. So you'll know what's going on. But once again, this has been the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. Member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com, find another podcast you want to listen to, and check out our awesome sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company, as James raises his fist. A lot of good stuff coming out from them. Please buy some stuff. Go to, what's the address? trapandrollsoap.com. Tape Armor and Rolls Gear. Appreciate all the free or the badass gear that they're sending me to wear. I got got a couple cool jiu-jitsu shirts with me. Got to show them off. And don't forget to like us and subscribe to us on iTunes, rate and review us. That's how we get more visibility. I'm Rob. We'll see you guys next time.